Hi, Carolyn Dube here. I am playing with my Gelli Plate today and a stencil by Jessica Sporn called Dots and Dashes. I'm going to start out here with two colors of paint on the Gelli Plate, and I'm going to be using two colors each time I print with it because two colors actually give me a pretty nice look without having to do a whole lot of work. I'm also using my 12 by 14 Gelli Plate here, but I'm not actually using the whole plate. You don't have to use the whole thing if you've got a bigger one. This technique will also work with any size Gelli Plate. So I'm just going to blend these colors together until I'm happy, cleaning off my brayer, building up layers on a future page that'll be in an art journal or torn up for collage. So here's the actual stencil I'm going to use today, Dots and Dashes. So now that I've got the stencil down, I'm going to bring out an envelope, and I found a whole stash of them, so I am all excited to use up a bunch of envelopes. I am going to print on the front of it, and I actually want to print on the flap too, so I'm going to kind of just set that down and press down. Wherever I press down, I'm going to get paint on, so that when I pull this up, you can tell exactly where I didn't press. But don't worry, that's not going to be a problem. That's just an oops, something unexpected. It's not good or bad. It just is. And now I'm going to push down on this one, and I must confess I am going to make sure that I push down everywhere this time. So as I pull this up, I've got another bright layer of color on this envelope. But there's still more paint to be had here. So I'm going to grab the next envelope and put it down, pulling up more paint. There's less paint on the Gelli Plate now, so I have to push down a little bit more than I did the first time to get more paint up. And you can see where I pushed down and where I didn't on that. It's just an oops, it's not good or bad, it just is. And now I'm going to get a completely different look using the envelopes, having pulled the stencil up. There's going to be a lot more paint because there isn't a stencil blocking part of it, but I'm still going to see parts of that stencil. And as you can see, a very different look from the first envelopes that I did. So this time I'm going to use the exact same technique of putting two different colors on the Gelli Plate and brayering them until they look like they've kind of blended together in the middle. I actually won't be exactly in the middle, but that's the beauty of this. It doesn't have to be exact. There's no really wrong way to do this. There's no really perfect way to do it. There's just the way that you are doing it. And each time it is a little different. I never seem to get the exact same thing twice, and that's something that I really love about the Gelli Plate. So I'm going to put the stencil down again, and I'm going to do the same technique of printing on the envelopes, but I'm going to be printing over the blues that I had before. I am going to try and make sure that my lines are going the same direction, but I'm not going to try and line everything up perfectly and precisely because I couldn't if I tried. So I'm just going to push these down, and you'll start to see layers building up of color. There's my first one. Didn't get enough paint, so I'm just going to put it down again and grab some more paint. And now you can see how it's all starting to build up. The layers are coming together. So I'm going to continue adding more color to the envelopes. I really love the kind of prints that I get at this stage when I've taken off the stencil, so I don't want to layer all the colors together like I have on the first three. So what I'm doing is putting a piece of notebook paper in to protect part of the card because I just want to get those pinks and oranges on the flap. So I'm basically protecting the rest of the envelope. And so now I've got two different sets of colors happening on that envelope in a slightly different way than my other envelopes. And so I'm just going to keep playing around, putting the notebook paper on there so that I'm protecting parts of it as I'm picking up other colors for the back of the cards. You guessed it, I'm going to do it again with another set of colors. Same exact process, going through it and adding more color to the cards. Well, it turns out that index cards will work better than my ripped up pieces of notebook paper and paper towel and whatever else I could find. So working with that went a lot more smoothly, so I'm much happier with the index cards to fill the insides with to protect the backs of the envelope. And in the process, I end up with a little bit of color right on the index card. So here's what the cards look like when they're finished. Lots of color all over the place, and the first ones have the layers of color built up, all six colors built up on there. You could definitely see how those might say make a nice set together as a gift if you were looking for something to give someone. For the note card inside, just a solid piece of paper, say a pink piece or a green piece would be a great way to put a card inside it, and you could call it complete and finished. Now these other cards have a different look to them, but they also have lots of color because each portion of the card was a different set of the colors that were being printed. You can see pictures and the blog post of this over at acolorfuljourney.com.